some debt might be good as long as I know what I'm going to use it for and how to be careful with it. Okay, so how do we begin building a solid financial foundation today, and why is that so important?
The reason that is important to build a solid foundation now, brothers from a different mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had that conversation before. The reason building a solid foundation now, today, is important is because the faster you start building your solid financial foundation, the faster you start building money, and the faster that money multiplies with the effects of compounding. How does that work in a real world sense? Warren Buffett, the greatest investor ever, I'll phrase this a different way. He made 97% of his $80 billion wealth after the age of, I think it was 60 or 65.
Wow.
Because of the effects of compounding. He's been wealthy for a very long time.
Okay.
But that really took off because of the exponential multiplication effects of compounding interest. And the sooner you do that, you build the foundation, the sooner you can start that process and the faster you will get to wherever your financial goals are.
Okay. So how do you begin to do that? Where do you start?
How do you begin to do that?
It might be a loaded question, isn't it?
No, that is, but we have a lot of time. So
we have a lot of time. Yeah.
The way to start doing that is the first thing we talked about is figuring out your expenses, trying to cut them where you can, paying down debt.
Okay.
I want to dig deeper into that because there's layers to that. This is another area where I disagree with Dave Ramsey too, which goes into this. Right. Is he doesn't like credit cards. You and I have had conversations about credit cards. You don't like credit cards either, right?
No, I'm afraid of them.
Yeah, no, and people should be. Because again, it's another tool. If used in the right way, can be a good thing, but we're not taught anywhere how to properly use credit cards. So for an example of paying down debt, you should pay down credit cards typically first because they're in general the highest interest rates that people have on their debt. I don't recommend you get rid of them like Dave Ramsey does. Because again, most people, even if they build up an emergency fund and stuff like that, health emergencies come up, kids emergencies, dentist appointments, pet emergencies, these things come up. And if you don't have a credit card, when those come up, even especially if they're above the amount of your emergency fund, then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to take out more debt. I don't necessarily agree with that. Yes, credit card debt is a form of that, but that's one reason. Again, if you can control the credit card and you're spending on it, that's one reason I think you should keep a credit card.
All right, but how do you know you can control? I mean, aren't we back into a situation where these credit card companies are sharks? I don't have to have a credit card to know that. I mean, they want you to overspend, especially in the middle class and poor. The interest rates aren't. I saw some interest rates in some of these cards that are like 23 to 29%. I'm like, are you freaking insane? Are you insane? If I put $100 of gas on that a month, I'm paying, and I don't pay that off, I'm paying how much more? So why should we even be friendly with these kind of companies that are sharks? They actually are very upfront about the fact that they want us to fail. So why do business with them to begin with?
Oh, I'm not saying you should if you don't want to. I'm saying in rare cases for things like we've talked about, emergency stuff like that, they can help. They can also help increase your credit score, which is important if you ever want to buy a home or get a car loan, stuff like that. And this goes back to the mindset stuff that Christina was talking about a little bit ago. Right. If you can learn how to control, and you want to, again, I'm not saying you should have a credit card if you don't want to. Do whatever you want. But if you want to have one and you can control it, this is a way to increase, I see down here, your spending power, your purchasing power, to increase your credit scores for buying that stuff and for also emergency funds and stuff like that as well.
Okay. Yeah. And to finish that.
But to your point, sorry. It's not, these credit card companies are absolutely right. They don't care about us. They don't really want to help in a real world sense. They want to make money. But having said that, again, to me, it's just another tool that you can use.
Makes sense. Christina says that credit cards are a great way to increase your purchasing power, and I believe having 2 to 3 cards for emergencies is wise. As you use and pay off, interest rates go down for you. So, excuse me. So what, I'd get the card and then deliberately not pay the whole thing off for a while, then I'm just paying the high interest rates when I just want to pay it off at the end of every month, so I don't have to pay those stupid interest rates.
No, so typically, I think what Christina's meaning is as you use the credit card and as you pay it off and as the amount goes down, typically your interest rates will also go down. And then you'll get better rates and all that stuff. Typically.
Okay. And she's clarifying. She said, no, pay it off each month. She also says, as your credit score goes up with the credit usage, they offer you lower rates. You can easily access 0 to 5% rates, even for fixed periods of time. That surprises me because I'm surprised a credit card company would offer 0% interest. Why do that? I guess for a short amount of time. Maybe
I tell you why they do that.
They want you to pay it off.
I can tell you exactly why they do that.
Why,
so let's say they offer you a 0% balance transfer for 18 months.
Okay.
Most people aren't going to pay, let's say, 10 grand off in 18 months. So
Right.
when that kicks in, they're going to start charging you the interest rate on that, and they have you locked in to a credit card. And hey, Pat, yes, they do.
I love that. When you teach this info in high school, that's what Pat says. Welcome to the show, Pat. It's good to see you.
Yeah. So to Christina's latest point, so this, and you need to be very careful when you read these credit cards, when you apply for a credit card or get something in the mail. You need to be very careful what it says in the wording. Is it 0% interest for 18 months, for example, like completely 0% interest, or will there be a penalty of sorts, although they don't call it a penalty, and they accrue that interest the whole 18 months and then add that onto the amount if you don't pay it off?
Okay.
Because let's say it's 15% interest for 18 months and you don't have to pay that until month 19 and you haven't paid it off on $10,000, that's a good chunk of change.
So they're still racking it up?
They can, yeah, depending on the terms, yes.
Christina says, Charlene, for someone like you who is super disciplined, it could be a very useful tool for you. Christina, I don't think I'm that disciplined. I don't trust these guys at all. I'm only disciplined because I don't trust them.
You shouldn't trust them.
Not even one bit. She says it's called deferred interest. That's nasty. That is a nasty game. So, okay. So to differentiate your feedback here, you said that you don't tell people they have to get credit cards, but you're saying that if you want to and you can be disciplined with it, it's a good thing. As long as you understand, what you're going to be doing with that. Other financial investors do say, though, in order to get anything anywhere, you have to get a credit card. Actually, that's half the reason I ignore most financial advice. I don't even dive into anything else because they start with get in debt. That's what I hear when they say get a credit card. And I'm like, no, I'm a cash-based buyer. I'm not getting in debt. And now I don't want to hear anything else you have to say. You're a little different. Why is that?
Because frankly, I'm truthful. Unlike most people in the financial and investment arena, that's another reason we're doing these lives in full transparency is most people in the financial and investment arenas, they want to just make money off of you. They don't care how they do it. They just want to make money off of you, and they don't care if they're ripping you off.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Yeah.
And that's another reason we're doing these is to help more people by being fully transparent with people, because that's how I am, as everybody in the chat knows. Everybody in the chat knows me personally, to some degree, and I'm very transparent with people, and that's how, frankly, I can get an advantage in this kind of space because I'm so truthful. And to me, that's not necessarily a advantage like I'm going to take advantage of you type of way. It's just I want to help as many people as possible, and in my opinion, the best way to do that, especially in this arena where pretty much anybody will lie to you to make money, that's how I can gain advantage over people who do that.
Let's revisit something that Pat said. She said that we need to teach this information in high school. I completely agree with that.